Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to For the Fan, episode number 145. As always, I am Will, and we got Jake, Dom, and Colton here. Gentlemen, how is it going? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Hump Day.
Hump
day!
Mike.
Guess what day it is?
Feels great. Was it Jets rehab though? Is it Jets rehab? Is that what this episode is called? Jets rehab?
I think it's just New York rehab.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, the Giants suck. I mean, hold on. We all knew the Giants were going to suck. I don't think we all knew the Jets were going to be this bad.
Not this
I think
bad.
this is Jets rehab show.
Mixing.
I know Will said he didn't want to talk a lot today. I think Will's got to talk a ton today
I think
about
today-
Jets rehab.
Yeah, today.
I think we're his therapist today.
Yeah. That's gonna be the show. Just
You know how, you go get a haircut and all that stuff and just, relieves you. You're like, wow, I feel like a new human after. That's what I did today. Got a whole, haircut and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be okay. And Dom's wearing his glasses for, the first time in 8 years.
What's bothering you, Will?
Oh, hold on here. Let me what's this? I need one of these on here. No, that's on I need a mellow talk about it. But before I talk into it, let me turn this off here. You can follow us on all the social media platforms down below there. For the Fan Network on YouTube, TikTok, For the Fan Network, X, For the Fan _, and Instagram, For the Fan Football. We got a lot of people coming in here on TikTok. We got some people in on the Twitter. We got people coming in on YouTube. And gentlemen, we're going to talk about the armpit of America for the first part of this show with the Giants who practice in the MetLife parking lot, and then the Jets who have to travel 30 minutes to play in a garbage pail. So thank you for tuning in, and you are listening to For the Fan.
You are listening to For the Fan.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Which one do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the blue team or the green team? This might be easier to simplify
I guess
here.
start off with the blue team because the green team's going to be longer.
get them out of the way. It's just nonsense.
So the Giants, after their bye week, traveling back from Germany, they decided to bench quarterback Daniel Jones following a 2-8 start. I don't know what the record was in its entirety, but it really was not good over the last 5 years. It's very coincidental that, he's been in the league as long as the Jets GM was in the league, and they both ended up losing their jobs within the same amount of time. So it just kind of balances out like that. But a new era, Mr. Tommy Cutlets, the Italian man, is going to be starting for the New York Giants. And gentlemen, I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on bypassing Drew Lock, who can win you a couple football games, but, obviously mess up that draft placement come April?
If it without draft placement and they just came out and said it, I'd respect them more.
I don't think you can just say oh, we're tanking.
You definitely can't because you're going to get fined. Just didn't the Dolphins lose draft picks for trying to do shenanigans like that?
Well, they tried to get Sean Payton and Tom Brady, so they lost a first and a fourth round pick.
Tampering, and then the whole Brian Flores, they tried to pay him to tank as a coach.
Right. That's what it was.
So it was a little different. The Eagles clearly threw a game at the end of the season against the Giants a couple years back.
Yeah.
But everybody knows that tanking exists. If they just did, it's clearly about the money and not about losing. They made that pretty clear.
Yes. I was going to say, I don't think this is more about tanking. I think it's more about saving their ass because if Daniel Jones gets hurt badly, they're screwed and they owe him money and they're probably tied to him again next year. Where if they bench him, they could just get rid of his ass at the end of the season and not have to worry about it. That's what it is. It is a slap in the face, though, to Drew Lock. The thing is, they should have kept Tommy Cutlets as the backup and Drew Lock not even an option is what it should have been.
Well, because he has a bonus in his contract if he plays. So they're just avoiding paying him by jumping him.
I think it was always going to be seeing Tommy Cutlets at some point because, again, the Giants are a clown show at MetLife. So, everyone at least likes Tommy Cutlets. So they'll somewhat have people going to the games to start off before it gets really cold to see Tommy Cutlets play. But this team sucks. I feel bad for Drew Lock. I know there was his media time today, and he was like getting all choked up. Like, the guy's number 2. The guy should be fucking playing. And next minute, they're going to jump right over him. It sucks. Like, at this rate, cut the guy. Like, bring some random ass backup to back up Tommy DeVito and do that. It's not fair for freaking Drew Lock to sit here on the bench where he could be somewhere else.
Well, they did elevate. No, well, they signed Tim Boyle, the Jets, I don't know, rat or whatever you want to call him. They signed him to the practice squad. So Daniel Jones in practice today was quarterback 4. He wasn't even sniffing, the third stringers. He was all the way down at the bottom.
That's got to be so awkward the rest of the season, by the way. Like, I'd love to be a fly in the wall watching Daniel Jones in practice. Like, dude, knowing, like, you're getting cut at the end of the season, that they're doing this so they don't have to pay your ass next season. Like, this is crazy to me watching this, like, happen. But I get it. Smart by the Giants. Also stupid by the Giants for even going down in this situation with fucking Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even Dexter Lawrence kind of had he freaked out about it. Said, like, the organization's kind of a shit show. He
said Daniel Jones gives them their best chance to win, which I think he does. But, like, what are we doing here? It just sends a bad message to the team. I get what you're doing because you're looking out for your franchise. But, like, now you're going to see a lot of guys worrying about themselves here. That's what you're going to see now. That's what you're building. Now that sets a bad precedent. Like, I think this season has to end with Joe Shane getting canned and Brian Daboll. Because even if it's John Mara pulling the strings on this move, it looks like it falls on these 2 guys pulling the strings on this move. So, and it doesn't set a good precedent for your locker room. I can tell you that's what it seems like, especially seeing one of probably your biggest leader on your team, Dexter Lawrence, come out with this quote. Like, they're going to end down a really crappy road here for the Giants.
It's just at the end of the day, like, who wants to be a Giant? Like, if like, why sign a big contract with the Giants? At the end of the day, if like, oh, if you're actually going to be money, they're just going to bench you.
Well, there was that big contract. Apparently, I only saw one report. So I don't know how true it was, but there was a report that Josh Jacobs got a big offer from the Giants, and he said no. And then he ends up being and I think it was from the field is why he said no. But still, my man turned down more money and said, nah, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the worst place you can be as an organization.
How did Walmart do it with Broncos last year and Russ? Did they outwardly say, like, hey, we're benching Russ because we don't want to do the contract thing? Like, what
they apparently wanted Russ to remove his injury guarantee, like, right before they beat the Chiefs last year, like week 8.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not going to remove that. And they were playing and, being in playoff contention. They could have made the playoffs last year if Russ was starting.
Yeah.
But they said, we don't want Russ to get hurt because we want out of this contract. It was going to add like a bunch of like extra money to that deal that they didn't want to pay out. So they only got away with $85 million in dead cap, which is between this year and next year. So,
but did they outwardly, like, was it just reported, or were
it was like this? It's the same thing like this. You can't outwardly say that. But that's exactly what it is.
I think they were.
It was pretty open, like, you need to restructure your deal or you're getting benched.
I feel like they were pretty transparent about it, but it was also with like only 3 games left, whereas this is with, we're mid-November and this is happening. So that's different for sure. But yeah, I was just trying to think, because that's the only relatable situation at the moment is last year's Broncos Russ thing, because it's essentially the same deal or same reasoning kind of. So it's the only comparative instance we really have at the moment, at least within recent. So, yeah, it feels different. I think it is different for the most part. And I think the organizations went about it different. And I think the results might be different, but we'll see.
Let's go from one New Jersey team that plays in a dumpster fire of a stadium to another one where the Jets now continue their house clearing. They fired general manager Joe Douglas after 5.5 years of service. He was hired right after the 2019 NFL draft. He was hired by Adam Gase personally. That's how he got hired to this team. Was through a bug-eyed head coach. Basically was gifted the job by Peyton Manning. a lot of years through there, no playoff wins. A very long time for a GM to have a job without a playoff berth, let alone any playoff success. Had some highs, had a lot of lows, but now 3-8 on the year. It's just another thing to add to this Jets team, which had, in Woody Johnson's words, the best team he's had in his 25 years of ownership. That's the Dream Team 2.0. That's all I can say on it. It's basically the Dream Team 2.0. That's a quote on it.
I don't know, man. Me and Jake were talking about it kind of extensively today, and I at first was really not about the Joe Douglas firing because I thought the timing was weird and poor, and it's like, why now after the trade deadline? What does a GM really do at this point other than maybe?
Well, I mean, Chuck Fletcher got fired from the Flyers right after the trade deadline because he couldn't even get a trade executed.
No, because he said his job's too hard.
It's also hockey GMs versus football GMs after the trade deadline. There's still a mass amount of responsibility different, but still, I thought it was weird timing. But then Jake pointed out today, like, yeah, but it's kind of like GMs really don't do much in this back half of the season at this point. So, like, why not get the head start kind of on maybe the GM search, maybe the new GM, seeing where that's at. I guess, honestly, I do think it's an okay decision. I don't think it does anything essentially right now. I think the season's lost. I think it's over. It is what it is, and all is done. But, yeah, I mean, like, sure. If you're gonna do it, I guess now's the time, man. Whatever. All right. It's like the Giants. It's a joke at the moment. Everyone's laughing at you. If you MetLife, nothing's a good time.
They have their GM, by the way. They just made this more obvious. They have their GM. Let's not be fooled. That'd be Aaron Rodgers if the guy's still a quarterback next season. Well, let's be real here. They have their GM. The guy's been pulling all the strings anyway. Because you think they really needed Devontae Adams? I think they should have went out and got themselves an offensive lineman or two. Because Aaron Rodgers can't stay upright. Instead, we got him Devontae Adams. This team sucks. They have a lot of Aaron Rodgers to take full charge of this clown show, bring in all of his buddies, get all of them paid, and this is what this crap is. It's their own fault. This is the Jets' own fault for doing this nonsense, and this is what they get. They get to lay in the bed of it, and Joe Douglas allowed this to happen, so he gets to go out with it. That's what this team is. And are you surprised? Are you surprised? They kept his butt buddy Robert Saleh. They should have went out and got a legitimate head coach to keep law and order in this damn building, and Mike Vrabel that's not going to take shit. Instead, they take shit with Aaron Rodgers and allow him to run the show, and that's what they get. This is the Jets' bed that they get to lay in. It's literally what it is. Are you surprised? We keep giving this team all this high praise. They've done dick on a stick for the last 10 years, yet we think, oh, Aaron Rodgers comes in. The same Rodgers that couldn't win at home to get him the damn Packers in the playoffs, to beat the Lions at home, get in the playoffs, beat your rival, get in the damn playoffs, and he loses his last game at Lambeau. And then he goes, all right, here, I'm going to go run the Jets. And it's been a shit show for Rodgers. He looks like he's got an egg on his face. Green Bay's all happy. The Jets suck. He sucks. And it's great for the Jets. They get to lay in their bed for allowing this moron to run their franchise. Go off to Egypt, Aaron. Season's over, buddy. Have fun. Go hide out somewhere. You've been in darkness. Congratulations. The Jets get to lay in this bed. They made it. They got married to this guy on the first date and let him run everything. And they get to lay in it.
According to this athletic report that came out, it was Woody Johnson really pulling a lot of these strings where he was the one that executed the Tyron Smith signing, the Mike Williams signing, not allowing Joe Douglas to get Rex Hogan replaced, who was the assistant GM, another higher up like consultant within the Jets. He kind of was just like, you know what? Well, my job's kind of like dick right now. I'm not really going to be doing too much there. And, Woody Johnson's just pulling the string. Apparently, Woody wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers after that loss to Denver in week 4. That's what this report said. And he was like, okay, Joe, your final act, you got to bring in Devontae Adams. I don't care what the price is. You got to just bring him in.
He also vetoed a trade for Jerry Jeudy so they could go get Adams instead.
Yeah, he wanted to. He had it in place where he could trade a day 2 pick plus Lazard to get Jerry Jeudy, and Woody Johnson just shut it down immediately. I don't know. This team is just a big dumpster fire. I don't know why I support this shit anymore.
Teams have their owners way too much involved. Suck. Carolina, Tepper, way too
Panthers.
much involved. Suck. Jerry Jones in Dallas, suck. And if this is all true about Woody Johnson running the Jets behind the scenes, that's why they suck. It's called you hire these. I'd never understand this. Why are you hiring these people to run your teams? You're paying these GMs big dollars. You're paying these coaches big bucks. Yet you're still running everything. What in the hell are you doing? You might as well be everything.
Big egos. That's all it is.
Stupid.
And it's like that for all sports. It's not just football.
Yeah, it's
Every sport that the owner's heavily involved in a day-to-day processing stuff, it's never good. If they're hands on just knowing what's going on is one thing. But like vetoing stuff, sticking their beak in where it really doesn't deserve to be. Like it never worked out ever.
We got Preston Smith in the chat here. He says, coming from a Packers fan, Aaron is not the problem in New York. I think age is just catching up to Aaron too. Like you could just tell, like the Achilles really slowed him down. He's not as, I know he's not mobile because he's not, a running quarterback, but he can make those magician things where he can jump out of a tackle. But with how the Jets' offensive line is, he's just like not really getting the time, and he's just getting pressured almost immediately.
His last year in Green Bay was pretty bad too. People forget about that.
He did have the broken hand though. He had the broken bone in his throwing hand, I think, too.
It's kind of wild.
It's just like this is kind of more along the average of what we've seen of him since the MVPs.
Well, it's just that one last year. Before that was that. I think Aaron Rodgers is part of the problem. Like a decent amount, at least on the offensive side, a large part of the problem. I think you can't ignore saying Aaron Rodgers is part of the problem. I think he's a quarterback. If an offense doesn't succeed, a quarterback is going to be part of the problem, period. That does not matter. He has weapons. Like the quarterback is going to be part of the problem. That's it.
I even think too with like when they fired Saleh, that was just like the final knife in the season, the dagger in the coffin for him.
Guess what? Is the OC still Hackett?
No, it's Todd Downing. They promoted Hackett to the coffee running title.
Yeah, that's also true. It's just look at all these dudes. The fact I'm even mentioning Hackett on this team should say Aaron is part of the problem. Like there's too many Aaron guys on here, and I get it, but it's not working. So you're gonna fall on it. I mean, that's it.
It's a boys' club. It's Aaron
Gronk to Tampa Bay. It worked. So you're not saying, oh, Brady's part of the problem because it worked. Aaron brought the dudes. It's not working. Aaron's part of the problem easily. I mean, that's just it.
It was only just.
Yeah, it was only just Gronk. But if it didn't work out and Tom fell on his face and Gronk did bad, Tom's going to be blamed, as he should. You're the quarterback of the team, man.
I was going to say, Aaron brought everything in. He brought his boy Nathaniel Hackett in. He brought freaking Alan Lazard in. He brought Randall Cobb in. He brought Devontae Adams in now. Like, no. He's brought all this garbage in. Again, you should have moved on from Robert Saleh. They were pals. He ended up staying when, again, Mike Vrabel was available. You could even try to, again, 0% chance it was happening, especially with him probably hating the Jets and Belichick and Woody Johnson. But threw your hat at Bill Belichick, Harbaugh. Like, instead you keep Robert Saleh in this week and you fire him 5 weeks later. Like, some of these, the Jets are one of them and the Bears are another whenever we get to later on. Some of these franchises, what the hell are you doing? Like, you knew these were guys you're probably canning at the end of the season, yet you don't can them. And it's like, okay, now we're going to can them. Like, same thing with the Chargers with Brandon Staley. You kept Staley too long. And it's like, okay, we know we're firing him. And like, I don't understand it. If you know you're firing him at the end, why are you holding on to these guys? Same thing like Saleh. Knew if this didn't go well, he was canned at the end of the season. Same thing with Eberflus. He's getting canned in Chicago. Like, I don't understand this crap. But by the way, Jake's point, nail on that. If your owner's involved, your team's going to suck. And it's not just the NFL. It's every sport.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What also Saints, Dennis Allen. I don't even know if you said that. Same deal. But I love how everything goes back to Brandon Staley. I mean, at least 50% of our episodes, Brandon Staley's mentioned still. So it's just
he catches strays and he's not even the topic of conversation. And I don't think we mind it at all.
No. He's relevant. He's certainly relevant.
He's getting a direct one from me later.
Yeah, he's definitely relevant.
It's not a stray.
Did somebody say boom?
texted you to have it queued up and ready to go.
You beat me to it. I was searching on the. Oh.
Well, let's talk about the modern day Hall of Fame semifinalists. I forgot to put semi, but semifinalists, 25 of them for the 2025 class. 4 to 8 will be selected off of this list, and I'm going to read them off to you right now. So we go from Eli Manning, and these might make you feel old too. Luke Kuechly, Steve Smith Sr., Earl Thomas, Adam Vinatieri, Jared Allen, T. Sizzle, Antonio Gates, Marshall Yonda, James Harrison, Vince Wilfork, Willie Anderson, Torrey Holt, Anquan Bolden, Reggie Wayne, Jari Evans, Rodney Harrison, Eric Allen, Robert Mathis, Fred Taylor, Heinz Ward, Ricky Waters, Richmond Webb, Stephen Wisniewski, and Darren Woodson are your 25 semifinalists for modern day Hall of Fame. So 4 to 8 of those get into the Hall in February during NFL Honors. They will be revealed then, but yeah. Well, I'm also on Twitter. I can also talk about the injury roundup. Yes, Dom.
I will say, because you mentioned it, and I know me and Jake have talked about it, and I just, again, you mentioned it, it instantly clicked in my mind. I had to confirm Terrell Suggs is the only person of the top 10 in sacks in the history of the league that is not a Hall of Famer currently.
I think it's because this is his first year, so that's why he's not in yet.
I'm just saying, though, as him being on this list now, I think it's a must, obviously, considering he's the only dude. Because wasn't
all those guys were first ballot, too.
Was Julius Peppers?
Yeah, Julius Peppers got in last year.
That's because last Julius Peppers was our, hey, why is this guy not in? Got in. And now Terrell Suggs is the, why is this guy not in? Because he's the only one on this top 10 list.
Is John Abraham on there?
John Abraham is not a Hall of Famer. Jared Allen, he's half a sack out of top 10, is not in the Hall of Fame, which kind of shocks me, to be honest. But yeah. Von Miller is the only active one other than the top 20. Cameron Jordan's just outside the top 20. Same with Calais Campbell. But yeah, no, I'm surprised Jared Allen never made it.
I don't think he got in last year. That's why. So
yeah.
Well, Mathis is going to make it this year too. They're not going to hold him up again. He's
I don't think so.
13th or 14th in the sacks list.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
Yeah, he's up there.
20th actually, 20th. But that's with some ties. But yeah, 20th.
The ties, yeah.
Still,
I mean, it's Jared Allen, Robert Mathis, and Suggs of the top guys who aren't in that are available.
And I guess John Abraham too. He's up there. And Leslie O'Neal, which is an older name from the 90s. But yeah, no, continue.
So let's go over the injury report. But before I say this, I think it's really interesting to say that Shedeur Sanders is going to be playing in the East-West Shrine Bowl in Dallas. I think that features seniors from all over the country. They play in AT&T Stadium right before the Reese's Senior Bowl, which is right after the Reese's Senior Bowl, somewhere around there. So I think it's interesting to see one of the top prospects is going to be playing one of these bowl games. Well, maybe to help his draft stock a little bit more.
I believe I said it on the show weeks ago that I was full convinced that the reason I was back, I think it might have been in the preseason, that I was convinced that the reason they weren't paying Dak is because Jerry loved Shedeur.
But they paid Dak now, so
I still think it happens because I think they're gonna fire. I think you're gonna do the package deal. We'll get both of them, Dion and Shedeur. Yeah, that's a very move.
In all ways, things are falling off the stadium. He's scrambling.
Yes. So Bryce Huff from the Eagles is undergoing a procedure on his wrist Thursday. He's expected to be back towards the end of the season. Some key players back at practice. Kayvon Thibodeau is back at practice for the Giants. Jonah Williams is going to be activated today for the Arizona Cardinals. Mike Evans practiced in limited capacity today, so that is a good sign for the Bucs offense. Cole Strange from Chattanooga returned to practice for the Patriots. Brandon Cooks and Marshawn Nealand are both set to practice for the Dallas Cowboys. Marshawn Lloyd, who was going to be activated onto the 53-man roster, had his practice window open, got appendicitis, had to get his appendix removed. So now he was activated, now moved to the non-football illness list to where, he can recover and then eventually get back into the Packers backfield. And also with the Bucs, Tristan limited participant. Chiefs Isaiah Pacheco and Charles Menahu were both limited in practice today. George Kittle said, I will be playing Sunday. So one game of not having your tight end, big person to return for the San Francisco 49ers. And that's it. That's all I got. Let's talk about this. Which 11 performance stood out to you guys the most?
I'll get mine out of the way because it's a homer pick. Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator. Oh, is it great to actually have a coordinator on his like, oh, I kind of know what I'm doing because this is what the guy who taught me to do. And then Desai and Matt Patricia, who were just atrocious. But Fangio every week seems to know just where to go and how to do things. And that was a great performance on Thursday night defensively against Jake Daniels.
Yeah.
I would have to say Justin Herbert, man. I really don't think we give him enough credit, especially with how the season's gone. It might not sound like, oh, hey, like which performance stood out to you the most, but like he's doing a lot in this offense, especially with given how much is like not there for him. And next year it's only going to get better for him when he gets actual weapons. But Herbert, Lab McConkey, I'll give him all the credit in the world for those. And then also J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards.
Mine's Jared Goff after his 5-pick performance. I mean, the guy has 5 incompletions and somehow throws for 412 yards with only 5 incompletions and 4 scores. Jared Goff in the number 1 Detroit Lions.
You jumping on the bandwagon over here?
Oh, what? As in Detroit's the best team in football wagon? That thing that I got hollered at for dying on the Chiefs hill? Maybe.
You have to.
Come on.
You have to. Come on. It's
just maybe.
I will say, with Will's point, Justin Herbert, outside of one game this season, has not had a turnover. We're 11 weeks in, and aside from literally just one game this season, throw that out, he's been 0 on the turnovers every single game this season. It's not talked about. It was talked about for Josh Allen, obviously. Mm-hmm. It was not been talked about for Herbert, and that's kind of the game I was going to go to, because again, we see that was such a telling game all the way around. And I said, the telling games were going to be the Monday or Sunday night, Monday night games for sure. That was such a telling game, man, because here we are, Joe Burrow, that Bengals team offense, just insane. They're still great, and they don't win, of course, because of play calling, the defense and such. But the Chargers, on the other hand, man, I mean, great game. They legitimately look good. Look good. They still maybe have the number 1 defense. I don't know, but it's up there.
I think the Eagles replaced them as the number 1 defense.
That might be true.
I saw something today.
That might be true, but they're still probably top 3. And Chargers are getting more real every week that goes by. So good for them.
Herbert and Burrow are easily my favorite. You will never catch me ever saying a bad word against them.
I want to look into week 12 a little bit here. Which week 12 matchup are you looking forward to the most? There are a decent amount of matchups too. They might not pop out like last week where you had 4 to 5, but there are quite a few matchups that are really, are good. I gotta say,
and Green Bay might be pretty good.
Yeah,
that might be a telling game on both of them, because both of them have kind of been all right, we expected both of you to be really good, and you're both kind of just okay.
Yep. Maybe one better than the other at this point, where they should be.
I guess Cardinal Seattle.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. I agree. I mean, ultimately,
Monday night Hardball Bowl.
There you go. Monday night Hardball, and both teams. I mean, that's a great game. That's a great game. I'm excited for that.
What's funny is those are the 3 games that I just don't have a pick yet for.
Yeah, because I know. That's a great game. Those 3 are awesome.
I don't know. Looking at the Cardinals Seahawks game, this kind of reminds me of like Russell Wilson and Carson Palmer era, where it's like, oh, hey, the Cardinals can really solidify themselves as like the number one team in the West. And I know we didn't really talk too highly of them during the preseason talk, but listen, I think they're coming to silence a lot of doubters now, and they're going to be coming in. So
because I don't believe in Murr over there.
maybe it was Cliff that was holding back this entire team. Who knows?
It's those desserts, bro. Those dessert things or whatever those were. I don't remember what those things, those cornucopia of whatever the heck, candies and all that other crap.
The cotton candy Rito.
Yeah. Candy burrito.
Ice cream and M&Ms and other stuff that'll give you juvenile diabetes at like the ripe age of like 28.
We spent more time talking about that than the team in the preseason. And they're
And
shutting
we did get a lot of shit about it in the comments. That was pretty funny though.
It was worth it. Maybe it's energizing the team. Infinite sugar highs. Winning game.
We all have a player. We all have a player that we watched from the past and all that stuff. We're like, damn, I wish we could just bring him back. Not Madden like, but we could just bring him back into this thing, just real life. But like, who's a player that's from the past that you've loved to watch? That you're just like, can he just come back and just play a game? It's not the Lay's commercial with Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice, Dan Marino, or Moss. Nothing like that. Like those like players in their prime, you would want to see come back.
Can I just say I know where Will took this from, and the video on the internet is the guy saying Aaron Hernandez.
I've never seen that.
Oh, come on, that's a lie.
I've never seen that.
That's a lie. This was asked on a sports podcast, a rather big one, and the guy was just like, "Is it bad if I say Aaron Hernandez?" And he was roasted for it. It was funny, but as soon as you brought this up, that's the only thing I can think about. So that's not my answer. I'm just saying that's what I've seen. This has been
so many.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So where are you going, Jake?
On defense, it's either Luke Kuechly, Trent Cole, Patrick Willis. Although Patrick Willis probably be like thrown in jail if he was in today's NFL.
Well, so would Aaron Hernandez.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you didn't have to say it. We were all thinking it. Julian Edelman was always a player that I really loved watching every game.
Yeah, that was fun.
Like that just you really threw me off, not gonna lie.
Well, Jake really threw me off taking a bunch of like random ass players that we've seen play in our lifetime. I'm gonna go with guys I've never seen play ever in my life. I'm gonna go with Jim Brown. I'm gonna go with Lawrence Taylor. I think LT would just murder quarterbacks in the league where you can't touch quarterbacks. It'd be nice to see him go along with some of the best edge rushers in the game and see how like much better he would be compared to some of these other guys that are like elite. And then Jim Brown, clearly one of the best running backs we've ever seen. So Jim Brown.
Oh. Then I'll throw in Reggie White.
It's another one.
I get to hear all the stories, but I never got to experience it for as an Eagles fan.
I would love to be at the first game where like the first forward pass was, where they would take two hands and throw it forward. I would have loved to just been there for that. I don't know when that was, but
you would.
I mean, the Jets obviously use both hands to pass the goddamn football. So that's
still can't throw it forward.
There's two people from my lifetime, and it's just games that like I remember watching, and it's like made me fall in love with them. One would be Doug Martin, like rookie year muscle hamster, would just be amazing though. Rewatch again, like if he played in this day and age, and also Le'Veon Bell, but Steelers Le'Veon Bell, which was just the most unstoppable running back in the 2010s, the mid 2010s.
You guys want this? You guys took this to a place I didn't think you guys were going with this, but
I would say for me,
I took this all as plus we watched and want to see play now. Like
when I see players from the past, I'm thinking before my time.
Listen, we're old enough that players we watched growing up are the past.
I get it. I mean, we're seeing it now with some of these guys on the ballot, so I get it.
I would like to see. I mean, it's kind of like where Colton went. Like, I would love to have seen Barry Sanders. I mean, whenever he's in like Madden on Ultimate Team, when I would used to do that, was like the sickest dude ever, and like that was awesome playing as him because he was the sickest, and any of his highlights, they're all awesome, and he is, these records and stuff. I would love to have seen that.
LT.
LT. I mean, I at least LT.
I would like to see like Deion Sanders. I know he played like at the end of his playing career, we were growing
I
up
would
and all
love
that
to
stuff.
know what was it? Greatest show on turf, right? That was Rams.
Yeah.
Terry Holt and all that. I would love to see them and how they would match up nowadays. Like if that was just a team right now, I would love to know where that would stand with everything. I mean, we talk about this, like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins or this combo, this duo, stuff like that. I would love to see where the greatest show on turf would match up with the teams nowadays and the combos and the duos and the dynamics and stuff. That would be pretty cool.
And then also, we don't have any fantasy football questions, but I still want to answer one. Which fantasy football player that you drafted burned you the most? We all have that one player that we just instantly regretted drafting.
Are we talking about this year or just like overall in fantasy?
Overall, whatever.
Oh, it's Christian McCaffrey. It's 1,000,000% Christian McCaffrey. 1,000,000%. Not even skipping a beat. It's Christian McCaffrey. You either love Christian McCaffrey or you hate
about,
Christian McCaffrey. And I absolutely hate Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, there was 1 year Rodgers burned me real bad. There was another year that Devontae Adams burned me real bad. And then there was just the year that I took Saquon 2 got hurt. It was the year he got hurt.
Yeah. I know Will's answer.
Well, you want me to say Le'Veon Bell?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were going to say Andrew Luck. I thought you were going to say
Andrew Luck cooked me so hard. There's that 3-year streak was incredible. David Johnson, broken wrist in the third quarter, didn't play the rest of the year. I had that curse for like 3 years. That was just wild. Then you had Le'Veon Bell in 2018, where everyone was like, "Oh, he's coming back week 1. You're okay. You could draft him."
And then you retired Andrew Luck. Yeah.
Yeah, I put Andrew Luck out of business.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah, the year that your team I got injuries and diseases.
That wasn't mine.
Oh, it wasn't?
That wasn't yours?
That was intern Joe.
Oh.
I don't know what mine. I don't know. I honestly, over the years, haven't really been burnt too badly. I mean, well, you might be able to disagree with me, but I don't know if I've been burnt by a singular player like just too badly where I can't recover. Other than this year.
This year's Sam Laporta.
This year's everything's over for me this year.
Well, I have
second round pick.
Trades you made against me in weeks I was playing.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this year's just bad for me. I couldn't even put a team together this week because of the bye weeks and the injuries.
Can you make that trade with me, Dom? Come on. Can you make that trade with me, please?
Maybe.
Your season's in the dumps. Come on. Make the trade with me.
Well, I still care about the rest of
Put me over the top, please.
No, just because it's you.
Yeah.
Put me over the top, Dom. Come on. 10-game win streak I have. Come on. Put me over the top.
Maybe getting hurt was me drafting Phillip Rivers after he retired for the sake of it, for the history of it.
That's not getting burnt. You did it for like sentimental reasons.
You're right. I won a championship with him on my team after he retired just because I could.
Just because you picked him up on the last day.
Yeah. Because he had to be on my team. He was my dude. But I don't know.
I don't got any fantasy questions here. It's pretty cut and dry, so we can just skip ahead. Game of the week, gentlemen. Where are we going with a really good slate of games? There's at least 6 that pop out. So, I mean, will we pick them? Will we not pick them?
Well, can we just at least?
Yeah, I'm going Bengals Chargers.
Not Steelers Ravens. Come on.
Nah, that was very boring.
Instead of having to score 6 touchdowns, you need 6 field goals. Maybe the Bengals analytic
Boss
guy
MVP, Boz Offensive Player of the Week, Boz Special Teams Player of the Week, kiss my ass.
Defensive Player Rookie of the Year.
President. Yeah, that's where I'm going as far as that goes. But I'm going with the Chargers and Bengals for a game that looked like it was going to be a blowout. All of a sudden, holy God, the Bengals might actually pull this out their ass. Then forgot they're the Bengals this season, and they're just not allowed to win with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase put up monster stat lines.
I don't know if I'm going to pick this, but the game that ended on a missing a clear pushing on the blocked kick that was illegal. on like so many fronts. Yet, it's cool. It's just funny because it's against the Bears, and the Bears always get screwed.
especially on kicks.
Yeah. No, the Bills and Chiefs to finally see the they did get nonsense. The Watson catch, but still lost. It was pretty fun for me.
There's a lot of close games this week and a lot of games that mattered. I mean, the Seahawks Niners, I did not mind that.
He ain't right back though.
Packers, Colts, Jets kind of buried the Jets. Clearly crippled the Jets, actually.
Anthony Richardson just has a nice like deep ball, and it's just ridiculous. Like
it's coming.
that's all he has is just like it's like the Mahomes thing where he just like flicks the wrist and it's just like 30 yards with ease.
Literally the thing that got him drafted. Like the one thing.
I'm gonna pick Colts and Jets because that was an actual like entertaining game. Like, oh hey, Colts got out to a big lead, and then they let the Jets come back, and then Anthony Richardson on a 2-minute drill just drives down the field and just buries the Jets. So I think that helps him get back into a groove. So hey, I'll give credit to Anthony Richardson because that was a very good game where the Jets, obviously didn't practice at all. So number one team at practicing.
Texans with a real win. I mean, it's Cowboys, and I don't know what performed worse, the stadium or the team, but
it's the stadium.
I don't know.
Nico Collins, 75-yard touchdown getting called back on the first play.
Yeah.
That would have been a nice welcome back for him.
Yep. I mean, Joe Mixon touchdowns looks great. Most touchdowns in the league, I think. Missed 3 games or whatever. I did. Good for the Texans.
And here we go. Buy, sell, and hold for week number 12. Where are we heading here for our buys?
We're on Kickers Edition for me this week. We're buying Chris Boswell, you sons of bitches. Best kicker in football. I do not care. Chris Boswell, GOAT, GOAT, GOAT.
You're not going to believe me, Colton, because I actually planned this entire week of just buying kickers. That was my entire plan this week was just buying kickers. So I hate that you jumped the gun.
My buy, sell, and hold are all kickers related, so we're all in, baby.
Okay.
That's funny.
We're doing this, huh?
Kickers are people, too. Pat McAfee would be happy.
Yep.
Unless you missed kicks, then I hate you. Not naming names. I'm actually going to buy the Patriots. Yeah.
After a loss?
Yeah, I don't care. Like, they're being competitive and not looking like a total dumpster fire right now.
And this week will be really interesting.
Like, that's something real. They got something real there. They're working with something.
I think so. Well, John Gruden said so. Gruden said Drake May's the real deal. Last week he said that.
I'll eat crow on that because I thought he was like, I don't want this guy. I want no part of him.
Yeah.
You reminded me too much of Daniel Jones.
I'm actually going to buy, because I haven't done it and they deserve it. I'm going to buy the Bills, man. I can't believe where the Bills we kind of sold off on the Bills a little bit pre-season, thought they would really take this step back. Josh Allen is clearly showing us like he is a top quarterback in the league. He's playing really well. That run the run to seal the game was awesome by him. I mean, now what? Are they number one in the AFC right now? They have to be.
No,
right?
The Chiefs are by a game and a half.
Losses? Okay. Game and a half.
I think they have 3 losses.
Do they?
That sucks.
Well, the half would be bye week.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, because they're on the bye this week.
Either way, man, good for the Bills. I mean, they're the top of the AFC East, and you know who we thought might be there, but yeah, go Bills. I guess they're looking pretty real on the AFC side of the ball, where Baltimore's been kind of slacking. The Chiefs, obviously, that's questionable like every week. They're 1-score games, and the Bills kind of do it. They end that streak, so that looks better for them. And they might be the realest team in the AFC. I don't know. Making a case for it. Now, especially now that the Ravens lost.
So I'll match Colton's kicker edition. I'm gonna buy on Boswell and I'm gonna buy on Jeremy Bates. So I'll buy the double B's. I'll buy the BBs. There you go. Bam bam. And what about sells? Where are we gonna go on a sell here?
Well, first, be careful. You might get Colton aroused by talking about killer bees.
No, they never won anything. Anyway, continuing on my kicker role here. I'm going to be selling off on Justin Tucker as he patched
Oh, come on. Literally, it's exactly what I have here.
Low-hanging
There's one
fruit. I had to
sitting
do it. He's had a bad season for the Ravens. The decline of probably the best kicker I've ever seen. Can't say that, Vinatieri. One of the best kickers I've seen in my lifetime.
Most
He
accurate
passed the
kicker he
torch
was.
on to Chris Boswell this weekend. So that was nice to see. So thanks, Boz. Thanks, Boz, and F.U. Justin Tucker. Screw the birds.
Easy.
I held them last week. The purpose of me holding them last week, I held 2 teams last week. One team I'm not going to talk about yet. I don't think they've proven either direction yet. But I held the Falcons last week because I said, listen, it's Denver. All right. We can't sell off on Denver because Denver's been good. But you got to go in there and you got to show up against Denver. They didn't even show up against Denver. That's an issue, man. So I'm done with the Falcons for the season. They shouldn't be as bad as they are. I most blame their head coach and their coaching situation. Didn't like the hire in the first place. And it's not going that well. Don't like his decisions. The defense should be good. The offense should be good. There's no issue. There shouldn't be issues like there's issues right now. So I'm done with the Falcons. The Falcons were over. It's over. Give it up. You lost really bad to Denver. And the Jets are bad, and they kind of barely lost to Denver. You're supposed to be good, just like the Jets were, and you really lost to Denver. So
dome teams having to play a mile high is just never a scenario that was ever going to succeed.
I don't care. There shouldn't be an excuse to lose that bad to Denver. There shouldn't. I don't care how good that is this year. The Falcons are supposed to be good. It's Kirk. I think a lot of it's coaching, but you got to be better, man. There's a reason I held them last week. I have to respond. So, because they did not respond.
So I have a quick one. I'm selling referee Adrian Hill because how the hell do you miss 5 face masks in one game? And the real one, the Niners defense. They are not the same. Everything Brandon Staley touches turns to shit. I don't understand how this guy getting hired. This supposed wonderkind, like defensive guru, hasn't been good ever. So I think he was a linebackers coach under Fangio when they had one Khalil Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just done. I don't think that guy deserves an NFL job.
It's the worst Niners defense we've seen in a lot of years.
It's the most points they've ever given up per game.
Even like their team and like during COVID where they had like everyone hurt, they were still a top 5 team. Like
yeah. So wherever this goes, disaster follows, and I'm really disappointed. Nobody's played the thing yet. Come on.
So my sell is
Did somebody say boom?
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm that kind of funny too. Tell it.
My 2 sells. Justin Tucker's one. I'm going to sell on NVIDIA because I got a little cooked on there on Wall Street. So those are my 2 sells. And what about holds? Where are we going to go holding this week?
Again, we are on Kickered Edition here in week 12 for me. And that would be the only Jake Elliott. Didn't realize that dude forgot how to kick. And I'm going with Jake Elliott on the hold because I don't think he's nearly as bad as Justin Tucker. But boy, he gets a hold. Awful week. Hidden by a good win from his Eagles for his team pulling them through. But yikes, Jake Elliott. Hold.
It started last year. It's concerning. Not gonna lie.
Yep, that's why we hold. It continues on. He's a sell. Might end up on a week 18 edition of Kickers. Never know. See what happens.
I'm going to hold on Kick Fearson. So thank God Cole and I don't have anything matched up there. Hey.
If I was going to do 2, McPherson was my second. You're lucky, Will.
There's nothing fear.
By the way, why the hell did you match me with Kickers Edition, you asshat?
No, because I was literally like, you know what? I'm going to do Kickers. No one's going to do Kickers. And you literally copied. I'm like, how in the world did you end up copying me on this?
Stoop down to his retarded level. He went full Will, and you stooped down to his level.
Illiterate.
Yeah, I guess I did. It was an easy week with Boz having the week he had. That's why I went this way. And I'm like, oh, wait, Justin Tucker sucked. And then Jake Elliott, I was complaining about Thursday. I'm like, this works. Perfect.
I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on Green Bay. I haven't talked about Green Bay in a single buy, sell, hold segment this whole year. And for me, they've kind of just been in the middle. Like I haven't needed to talk about them because they've not gone in any single direction, especially with Jordan Love being hurt for the last, or there's 3 weeks or whatever that he was hurt. So I haven't talked about them, and I think this is a good time to hold them before they play the Niners, see what they really got, and a team that should be better. Like you got to take advantage of this, and you got to beat the Niners this week. So yeah, ball is in their court. That's the whole purpose of my hold. So
See, I have a similar route, like a team that I can't believe I haven't actually even mentioned any of it yet, and they're a perfect hold candidate, especially after stomping a bad team in the Houston Texans.
that's why I held them last week. Yeah, and that's why I didn't discuss them this week. I held them last week. I said this earlier before I said Atlanta. I'm not making a decision about the Texans yet. They did good. They got a real win. I like it, but like they're still in limbo for me.
Yeah, I can't make a decision about my last week one, the Vikings either.
Yeah, exactly.
I got one more buy, and it's also the weather. I like that it's cold outside. I appreciate it.
It's not like too cold though.
It's not too cold. It's like right. It's cold at night, so it's like.
Yeah, if the Texans, I think if they handle business and stomp another bad team in the Titans, then
Sorry, I'm very tired of Will and the weather. I just had to hit the ejecto button on this idiot.
Man, you just don't want me to be happy. You're just like, oh nah, not doing it. Okay, here. Let me take control here. Stop touching all the damn buttons. What are you doing?
It's like him changing my picks in the sheet earlier while we were trying to talk. He was changing all my picks as I was.
This ain't me, by the way. This is not me. Hands are up. This is not me. This is totally Dom over there smirking it up. This is totally not me. Picks was totally me. I was having a little feud with you while we were going. So I was like, let me just wait till Jake has a reaction on the screen where no one's going to know what he's like smirking about. But I do. I know.
I was sitting there kind of fuming. I'm like, stop fucking changing my picks.
That's funny.
He changed yours too, by the way.
No, you didn't.
Wow, Dom, you're picking the Falcons. They're on the bye week. They're gonna lose.
I know. I hate that you put the Falcons.
The thing is, Dom might not know.
I put all of our buys. I put all the buys and how accordance they would be. So like Colton's the biggest homer for the Saints and the Bills. So we got to put the Saints and the Bills. I don't know if Jake really is going to feud a lot with the Jaguars, but it's Doug Peterson. They won him a Super Bowl, so I don't think he would, totally hate it. And then the biggest Falcons buyer person in Dom, you get the Falcons, and then I'll just get the Bengals and the Jets because that's
the Falcons aren't going to score any points against a bye week either. So
neither are the Cowboys. But speaking of it, these are our Week 12 picks. Let's go into what we had last week. Well, why we talk about last week? Let's talk about our totals here. So for the week last week, Colton took a commanding win at 11-3, followed by Jake and I at 9-5, and Dom for the second week in a row 8-6. Our money was on Dom to be the first person to break 100 wins, and I think we all got burned there. So that's another burn for all of us.
That's insane.
How's the triple digits feel, gentlemen?
Yeah,
it's weird.
Feels nice.
I was looking at my picks last year. I'm like, oh wow, look at this. I was like, I don't know. You guys all had 100. You guys all had 100, and then I was at like 95. I was like trying to claw my way back slowly but surely.
We did, man. Tom just has to curse. This guy's screwed.
I have a toilet curse, actually. It's a whole thing. We got a loser trophy for our lease here, and when I unpackaged it, it broke. I fixed it, and now I'm doing awful in fantasy all year. It's just so bad. I'm doing awful in this, so I think the curse, our whole thing is
going to fix it.
Since I broke the last place trophy, as soon as I unpackaged it, I have the curse.
And someone's going to be picking your draft order too, so that's going to be interesting. Unless you pull out some like big win streak to end the year.
Miraculous.
But let's go into Thursday night football here. The Steelers and the Browns. I was going to say Will, but I will be talking third person here. Colton and I picked the Browns while Dom and Jake picked the Steelers.
Wait, what? Colton, you picked Cleveland?
That's crazy.
I did. I have a weird feeling. Trap game coming off a huge win against the Ravens. And Mike Tomlin is 0-5 on the road on Thursday Night Football against the division. So, yeah, I am thinking that continues. This feels like a weird game.
That's what I saw too.
This feels like Steelers lose. Like, this should be like, walk over Cleveland, just like last year when they played Arizona, New England. It was like, okay, cool. This is where the Steelers kind of distance themselves, make it a little more comfortable going in the playoffs. Steelers are definitely making the playoffs this year with their record. I'm just saying this is the game I think they lose. Hope I'm wrong. I mean, I'll gladly be wrong when it comes to picks, when it comes to Pittsburgh. Jeez. This gives me
this is the Tomlin they play down to a bad team and lose kind of deal.
Yes, that's what vibes I get. And again, coming off a high win like Baltimore, where it took a lot of whole team effort to win that game, and yeah, this feels like a letdown against Cleveland.
I like that you put armpit there, Dom. That's pretty cool. It's funny. Now we go into Sunday football, where the Chiefs head to Carolina. Can Bryce Young get 3 wins in a row?
No.
We're all picking the Chiefs here. So let's move over here to the Vikings at Soldier Field. Colton won here on the Bears.
Yeah, man. I don't love what Minnesota's looked like. Like the fact that the mayonnaise man kept it interesting with them last week. Caleb Williams actually looked good with the firing of their OC. I did ramble on Matt Eberflus who's sucking, so I could see them losing this game. But I was so down on Minnesota this year. I just don't think this team's that great. And it's starting to come around that, they're okay and not great Minnesota. I think the Bears win this game.
Yeah, I thought about it. I just can't take the Bears. I just can't do it.
I was feeling frisky this week.
Speaking of frisky, we're going to go down to the Texans here, where they host the Tennessee Titans. We're all taking the Houston Texans on this one. And then to Indianapolis, coming off a big win against the Jets. They host the 9-1 Detroit Lions, who absolutely throttled the Jaguars last week, outpacing them by, I think it was 497 yards. It's the largest yardage differential since 1979. It's chaotic. We're all picking the Lions here. And now we have Dom's kryptonite here. The Patriots go to South Beach to take on the Miami Dolphins, where, Dom, you do not have a thing selected in here, so please.
I'm doing this by principle. That is it. That's the only reason. I'm going to go New England, and it's strictly on principle for myself. That is.
By the way, you're acting like that's totally the most outlandish pick.
It's not.
I could even see New England winning this game.
Yeah, the reason I'm really sticking I'm headstrong on it is I'm doing it out of principle. I don't pick Miami against New England pretty much ever. That's it. It's dumb that I didn't fill this out.
And then potentially Mike Evans returns to the field for the first time since the Monday night game against the Baltimore Ravens as they travel up to the armpit of America to face the Giants. Clean sweep here of the Buccaneers. Go Bucks. And down on 95, the Commanders host the Dallas Cowboys, and Cooper Rush and maybe Trey Lance with some packages. We're all taking the Commanders here. 4 o'clock excitement here. Broncos travel to Las Vegas, and we all pick Denver. And then in Lambeau Field, in the more interesting 4:25 start, the San Francisco 49ers host the Green Bay Packers. Niners go to Lambeau to play the Packers, who are hosting them. And Dom, a lone wolf here this week.
Colton filled that out for me, and I'm going to stick with it. You know what? What do I have to lose at this point? I like it. I'm with that. I said what I said about them. I'm holding them. But sure. All right, let's do it. I did it with Atlanta last week, and it worked out terribly. So, again.
Don't blame me if this doesn't go your way.
I'm not.
And then first place Arizona travels up to Seattle to play the Seahawks, who came off of a last-second win against the Niners last week. We are all taking the Arizona Cardinals.
I hate that I'm doing this. I really want to take Seattle at home, but I just keep getting shafted picking against Arizona. So I'm just sticking it here. When they lose, then I can go back to picking against Arizona. But I had to do it this week.
the weekend at SoFi, Sunday Night Football, the Eagles head down to Culver City to face the Rams. We're all picking the Eagles here in a clean sweep. And Monday Night Football, the Hard Bowl, John and Jim, they face off for the first time in the NFL since, I believe, their Super Bowl matchup 12 years ago. Dom and Colton are taking the Ravens while Jake and I are taking the Chargers here. This is a very interesting matchup for, I don't know who could really lose here. It's difficult to pick, but 50-50 ball on that one. And then I'll just announce the buys. Bengals, Falcons, Saints, Jaguars, Jets, and the Bills are on the bye week.
Again, I have to do my rant. We're this late in the season, and there's this many buys. Why are week 4 buys?
Yeah, I agree.
And then next week, there's no buys because it's Thanksgiving, so everyone plays.
Are
And then
there
week
buys
14, there's
happening?
buys. There's week
What
14 buys.
Oh, that's insane.
I'm done.
And
Well, I
then
mean, when
we
you
have
got
week 8
4,
buys.
when you got 4 games, Thursday and Friday of Thanksgiving week, like you're gonna have to have,
that's good, that's good. I don't care. The fact that we play week 8 with no buys is stupid. There was no week 8 buys, dude. Why? That's so dumb. It's the week that there should be all the buys. They need to get to the I don't know. Whatever. I'm over it. Stupid.
And I'm over this show too. So follow us on all the social media platforms down below. YouTube for the Fan Network, TikTok for the Fan Network, X for the Fan _ and Instagram for the Fan Football. We are live every Wednesday. We do the show here on YouTube, X, TikTok, wherever we can honestly get our faces on. We're live. And then Thursday night, there is a fantasy football show live at 7:30, exclusive on TikTok, where we'll go over your needs and wants of the fantasy football world, especially with this week. A lot of people are shafted, including me, in fantasy football with the buys that are just horrible this week. Every monumental player you need is not playing this week. So we will be sure to answer that and so much more. So, gentlemen, any final thoughts, questions, concerns?
Nah, you just suck.
Whatever. Okay. Well, I'll just go, fuck myself. And you are listening to For the Fan. Every Wednesday, we're live. So, hey, tune in, have fun, and enjoy this football viewing weekend of 13 games. Let me say it. Will